So I'm saying the past 5 years, there's only been 2 really big Wizkid songs. Fact. Sorry guys, but Wizkid FC, sorry guys, but yes. Past 5 only 2 big Wizkid songs. One of them, there was a popular crossover, what's the name? Essence. The other one was Soccer, which was big locally.
Hello everybody, we are back again. It's the James and Ori show.
Yep, and that's James and Ori.
Yes, where we talk about entertainment, analyze entertainment news and activities around the entertainment industry, locally and internationally. Real quick, Wizkid. Well, I don't know if we should be dealing with the phrase sold out. Did Tottenham Stadium?
Not Tottenham Stadium.
So Wizkid sold out. I don't know. Okay, so we don't know for a fact if it was sold out, but I mean at least that's what some of the stories, are saying that he sold out the stores. But how hard? Should I say how hard is it to sell out the 80,000?
Of course, it's hard now.
Not for football, Abi. For music, it's not
yes,
so
of course.
easy, right?
If of course 2 big teams are playing.
Now it's about not being so easy for any artist or for a Wizkid.
I think for Nigerian artists in the UK, only a few artists can. Only a few artists, even in the UK, can pull that off.
Pull it off.
Then for an artist who isn't actually based in the UK, I mean, let's assume he's still based in Nigeria, to be able to pull that, so it means something to both the individual and both to the culture or to the genre of music that is being played. So Nigerian music, generally speaking, that we have artists that can perform in stadiums outside of Nigeria. I think that's a big, chunky, fat deal. Because even in Nigeria, maybe only a handful of artists can actually sell out a stadium here. So it means that our boys can do this outside of the country, internationally. It says something about the reach of Afrobeats music. It says something about the popularity of these people who can do it. Burna Boy, Wizkid, probably Davido, but I don't know if he's done that yet. He hasn't done the stadium stuff, I think, yet. But okay, no, he did TBS, by the way. So anyway, yes, international. So it means something that, gradually, small, the industry is getting, not the industry, Nigerian music, Afrobeats is going.
Afrobeats, right?
Yes, it's heading somewhere really, really, really interesting.
So Burna Boy too sold out London Stadium, same 80,000 capacity.
Yeah.
Wizkid, same thing. So I mean, do you sense some
competition?
Yeah, like low key competition. Is it possible that these guys say, what, Burna Boy just sold 8,000, make we run them,
Yeah, so I think there's certainly something to be said about that. Like, what, this guy has done it. Isn't it possible that this other person can do it? I think there's that going on. So I don't know if I just call it competition, because in public, Burna Boy and Wizkid like to appear like they are
superior.
No, like they're friendly, like they're friendly. Or like, say, if this was Davido Burna, we will know that. Okay.
We want to make sure we see the numbers. How many did you sell?
No, but even this one, I've seen people I've seen people who were taking photos of them being there and saying that they were MC seats.
Okay.
So the haters are still going to hate. Or at least truth tellers are still going to say the truth, whatever it is. But I'm saying that in terms of Wizkid and Burna, it just feels like they are trying to be friendly, so there will not be an outright
competition,
comparison. Everybody will be bragging their own. Of course, for the fact that they could only do a song called Ballon d'Or together, it means that they feel like they are the Messi and Ronaldo of this place. Everybody else is beneath. They are the ones who are like on top. So, but I also know that the way I think of a Burna Boy is like that Ashake song, lonely at the top. I feel like Burna wants to really.
Sees nobody on his lane, actually.
Burna really wants to be lonely at that top. He doesn't really want to feel like he's equal.
I mean, Burna Boy will look at the situation like, congratulations, Wizkid, my bro. But that's it. He's on to the next one.
But I feel like in his heart, he's still going to be thinking like, last.
We are not the same. Like that,
exactly.
But if you look at,
we're not the same.
We're not trying not to compare, but even we can't run away from it. If you look at Burna Boy's catalog and Wizkid's catalog, who would you say has the strongest, more hits and the strongest catalog?
Man, let's face it, man. In the first few years of their career, it was unarguable that Wizkid was the king. In fact, over Nigerian music generally, the pop music in Nigeria, Wizkid was the king. I think that over the past 5 years, I don't know that Wizkid won't shows up in top 5 or
in terms of his music or
hits music.
I mean,
past 5 years.
Come on. Okay, for the number, exactly what you're talking about, because
hit music, forget.
The song with Thames, what's it called again?
Essence.
Oh yeah, good now.
One.
Oh, okay, in terms of how many? Yes. That's what I'm saying. In terms of number.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, in terms of like the past 5 years, how many hit songs do these people have? I'm saying that I'm sure that Wizkid in particular, over the past 5 years, he's not in top 5 hit makers in Nigeria.
Records, yes.
I doubt it very much.
I agree.
I would say 5 years ago is 2019. No, 2018. 2018, good, which is maybe around the time Soko came out. So Soko is like Wizkid's last big hit, like a local hit. Internationally, it is Essence. So I'm saying the past 5 years, there's only been 2 really big Wizkid songs. Fact, sorry guys, but Wizkid is sorry guys, but yes, past 5 only 2 big Wizkid songs. One of them, there was a popular crossover. What's the name? Essence. The other one was Soko, which was big locally. But those are the only 2 since 2018 to present. The only 2 big Wizkid songs. Burna Boy.
But the man Wizkid has been very, very present.
Yes. So yes, that's the thing. So I think that I feel like you're overstating you're not okay. You are stating his
I'm just saying.
his fame,
yes,
but you're overstating what that means musically. I think that in present day.
So wait, sorry, before you go deep into it, if you compare the catalog, Burna Boy has given back to back
over the past 5 years,
not just once.
It's like over 10 songs.
So that's to just tell. That's how we can actually weigh.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying yes, like the first 5 years of since 2010, which is 2011, when Wizkid released Superstar, he was the king of the world. I don't think even Davido could only try to come close. Over the
no. But at the time, we are saying to him, if you compare Davido's album and catalog as well with Wizkid in terms of hit records,
past 5 years,
past 5 years,
the past since 2018.
Yeah, same way. Davido has always had a hit.
Yes,
a monster hit every other year.
I know, but Davido too. When was Fall?
That's what I'm saying. That no matter how you look at it, don't forget that Wizkid had started earlier than maybe 1 year or 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm just saying. I'm saying from the way we are going. Let's just move to 2018.
Davido has actually had a big song every other year till date.
Yeah, what big song did he have last year?
Last year was we know what happened last year. Last year,
but before then, even before Stanley's was. I don't think Stanley's song is a big hit.
Stanley's song is not a big hit like that. Exactly. He did well regardless, based on what was happening or what happened to him. But even at that, if you look back into even some of them were not even directly his own song, but the one that he was featured on everything. He has. If we look at it, way in the same way.
This is why
Davido still has more.
Before Wizkid released Essence, this is why I was telling somebody that time that look, the problem with Wizkid is that you don't know where to place him, because internationally, number 1 at that time was Burna Boy. Still is now, even, by the way.
Yes.
And locally, number 1 was Davido.
True.
So it was like, okay, Wizkid was the legitimate third then, because across both internationally and locally, he was not the top. He was not one.
Yes.
So anyway, this just means to me like, okay, so Wizkid selling our stadium, yes, is good, but I think in present day, once you've attained a certain level of fame, you can't really fail anymore. I think that's something that we must remember. That back in the day, artists like Two-Face, artists like Sound Sultan, artists like African China, right from the beginning of time up until the streaming era, if you did not release a record that hit, you were in big fat trouble. Now, part of the reason behind that is because you needed to convince people to leave their houses, go onto the street, go to the markets, go to the stores to buy your record. That movement, leaving my house to go and find you out there, meant something to me. For me so much that I'll work, I'll spend money. Today, sit down in your house, unless you don't want ads, you can sit down in your house, pay zero amount of money, and consume everything Wizkid has ever released.
Facts.
What this means is that if you are a Wizkid FC fan, or if you're just a big Wizkid fan, you can still consider him relevant now, even if the major songs that are playing on your phone are songs that you released 2017
Facts.
or 2011, almost more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Entirely possible. So what has happened now is that we are overstating people's musical relevance, because fame is just a drug that keeps giving its effect over year after year. So this is one of the things. So if Two-Face, for instance, if we were in Two-Face's era, when Two-Face had that, like, first 2 albums were like just excellent piece of music, third one was not even bad either, Unstoppable, the
international
edition
version,
was fantastic.
Yes.
If at that particular stage, so with each album, he was building his numbers. He was getting more fans online and everything. Today, we'll be talking about Two-Face probably having 20 or 30 million followers. Let's say now even have like a song like Essence that now crossed over more than Nigeria and went into the international space. If Two-Face for the rest of his life releases bad albums, 10 bad albums after the first 5 that were good, he will still be incredibly famous now that he can sell out wherever he wants to sell out. So the nature of fame and the nature of musical relevance has altered over the past
years.
Since social media became a big thing. It has altered. So Wizkid's fame, you can't take that away from the guy. So it means that no matter what happens today, if it's supposed to sell 100,000 records back in the day after his first few great albums, today he will get about 1 million streams, still for the same reason. You get, and again, back in the day, if you were listening to Wizkid album, there's a chance that you might have forgotten where you kept your former Wizkid album. Today, you're listening to the Wizkid's new album, you're like, I don't really like it. You can go and play Superstar
straight,
and you'll be fine. You get? So over that particular week or whatever it is, his streams will still increase. The data will still know that Wizkid is doing incredibly well on all of these platforms. So for me, this is like an important way that we understand that these people are great. I don't think you can argue the greatness of this, our big 3 pop musicians. But the nature of their greatness has been fueled by the internet.
Absolutely. And rightly so. And I mean, it's just the change of time. I feel like this applies to a lot of even the international artists.
True.
It's just interesting that when we talk about Afrobeat today, the frontliners of music in Nigeria today, the first 3 that comes to mind is Wizkid, Davido, and Burna. It's interesting. It's just interesting.
But I think so. You know, funny enough, back a while ago when I was, of course, still a young music reporter, I interviewed MI. I'm a bagger, the rapper, and MI told me that his own theory is that every year there's a space available for 3 musicians to occupy. So there's like a new breed of there are new music stars that show up, but there's only 3 positions. Sometimes all 3 are not filled, but the maximum he fills every year is 3 positions. So I feel like there's a sense in which Wizkid, Davido, and Burna Boy have cheated that theory, you know, by just remaining
there,
the top guys over a period of time, you know, that they're still there. So there might be 3 spaces there, but these people almost look like every year they occupy one of them. So there's only 2. There's only 2 really big, chunky spaces for anybody to occupy. And even sometimes, some years, only one person occupies that space. Ashake's year, it was only Ashake that occupied it, I think. Omale's year, probably only Omale too, with the pandemic year, so probably only Omale, you get. Somebody else might come, but they'll be so far from this other person's peak that it feels like it's not, they're still famous, but they're not quite on the same level. On the same level, you know. And I feel like, those boys, those 3 people, they've kind of altered how the thing is supposed to work, you know. They've kind of altered it a bit. Anyway,
I think with time, one of these days we'll still come back to look at or sort of critically analyze the industry and the state of the industry at any point in time, or this point in time, so to speak. But anyway, shout out to
they said Wizkid also got the 1 billion streams
from the UK,
which is a big,
which is gold.
Of
course, absolutely, it's a big deal, and seemingly like the only or the first to hit that mark.
I'm really surprised to hear that. I would have assumed Burna Boy would be the first person to hit 1 billion streams in the UK, because he is super popular in the UK.
He is, but I mean, the story says that he's the first he has become the first African musician to have earned the Brit Billion Award for over 1 billion streams in the United Kingdom.
Oh, it could also be a case of the Drake songs.
Oh, of course. I mean, contributing to that, all of these units is the
because if I remember clearly,
One Dance.
Yes, exactly. Spotify's the most streamed song in the world on Spotify, I think, was One Dance.
Of course.
So that has certainly skewed
that
everything
song
in his favor.
Said 6 times platinum and sold over 3.6 million units. So when you do that, it's a 6-time platinum record. So, and then of course, also contributing to the 4th studio album made in Lagos. Also is a certified gold in the UK. So, of course, the accumulation.
What's gold in the UK? It's 500k now.
500k.
Back in the day, I don't know what to change in streaming, but that's back in the day in the West, 500,000 copies of sales used to be gold. Then platinum was 1 million.
Yes. So, but I say the combination of all of these things. Some of them are singing.
I guess I just realized that. Okay, I was going to say that Burna Boy should be ahead, but I just realized that okay, that one dance was like a massive.
Was a monster. I mean, that it came at the peak of even Drake's career. So, I mean, why not? And it keeps giving. You know.
So I'm trying to say that that's scam.
Anyway, let's move on. Keep it moving. More local news. Kanayo O Kanayo, who I mean was trending back to back sometime earlier this week. When I opened my Instagram this morning, and one of the posts I saw, it said this month. What was that thing I saw?
Don't be afraid to make sacrifices.
Don't be afraid to make sacrifices. And they put this picture there with a funny smile, you know, right above the caption. So it's just crazy. So the guy has been trending and stuff, and then but anyway, this brings me to the problem of I don't know if it's a problem, I should call it problem or whatever, of stereotyping an actor. So once this guy plays a role or played that role the first time, and then at that time in the industry, the stories that were pretty much selling or going everywhere were stories of people using juju.
So they had
or rituals.
Nollywood has always had a bit of a, maybe even Hollywood, who knows, but yeah, Nollywood has always had like a bit of a group thing, bandwagon effect in Nollywood. This thing becomes popular, people do it up until it dies, you know. Another thing becomes popular, people do it until it dies again. If I remember clearly, for my own, just looking at my own youth, I think it started up with the whole ritual stories from Living in Boy, which was the first real commercial project from Nollywood in 1992. That was a ritual film, of course. A man uses his wife to get money. You get a few films like that. That's kind of Kanayo's era, you know, where he was in some of those films. It was not even, in fact, 1998, I think, or 1997, there was a film actually just called Rituals. You get that was actually the title of the film.
Kanayo in it?
I think there was Kanayo in it. There was the person I remember very clearly was Charles Okafor.
Okay.
I remember the cover. You get. So anyway, so just a film called Rituals. Just the end. You get. So there was Evil Men, which was around the same area. Anyway, there's a lot of these diabolical stories of such. Yeah, that's early 90s. After that, we now enter the area of like love, which is where Genevieve, Emeka Eke, Patata, Ramsey Noah, G Mike. Yeah, no, G Mike even came later. Maybe it was Stephanie. Is it Stephanie Okereke or anyway? RMD, Chidimo Keme, those guys, you get. So those ones now showed up. There was not a love, everything. My love, wanting love. This one, that one love. Exactly. Those kinds of. Those ones now showed up. So I think the love stories were the last major.
Really, the last. Okay, so which one came first? The robbery ones, the bad guys, the killing ones. Where they had
yes. We now had the vigilante-esque movies, the Misaka Bats, them. I think that came after exactly. Yes. Oh, actually, maybe shortly before. Shortly before actually. Yeah, because I feel like Genevieve's one of the reasons why Genevieve has stayed till now is because she was just almost like the biggest star when we were at the Love.
And Omotala as well.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Yeah. Just the biggest star at the time when the love season. It's like the love season actually, and that's kind of what carried into the new day. So yeah, so she stands very much as a very good place where she was not too old enough to function in the new Nollywood. At the same time, not too young enough that she started at the beginning of Nollywood. So she's just in a very incredibly good space, you know, so she can function in both spaces. Anyway, so yeah, so I think that's kind of how that happened. So then we now, of course, in new Nollywood, we now had the whole comedy, which has probably lasted for like forever. Yeah, I think we are getting into a more a different kind of stories now, Sha. But anyway, Nollywood has always had that kind of a thing, and of course, Kanayo was the king of the ritual, actors at the time. But I feel like now he's no longer very happy. He made money, of course. He made fame. Acting of those roles, you get. It was easy for people to identify him because, of course, of what he was, the kind of roles. A lot of them he played were like that, you know. But I think nowadays he's trying to insist on being something else. I saw a video of him last year or 2 years ago where he was not very happy about somebody referring to him as, I think he was in a live. Somebody had mentioned the thing and he was just reacting very, very.
Yeah, but all those things, whatever he's trying to do, whether now or 2 years ago, is just even too late because he was open to taking all of those roles at the time.
They find money now.
And then nobody, I don't know, I that's what I'm saying, the stereotype came into this situation. Nobody ever gave him a decent role where he was, maybe Fela,
no, those were not popular. He got a few, exactly. He got a few, but not.
Those were not popular enough to change the perception that people had about him. I don't know, we're in a country or we're in a system where people sort of perceive you as the roles that you act.
Everybody, I don't think that's a peculiar Nigerian problem. I've seen people who say that somebody acted this very bad role and they cannot even they saw him backward in the US, they saw him walking past, they just could not believe that this was that person that did that thing. That kind of the guy that acted Joffrey in King Joffrey in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
How people just feel like
this guy is so what it took for someone like me, because of course I saw him somewhere else where he was talking to young people and everything, and it was so funny, it was hilarious, and he was talking about some of the experiences that he had had after Game of Thrones, and it was so funny. The way he was saying it was so funny, and I liked him, and I was able to really admire him as as an actor who played that role very, very well. Because that role, if he had finished that role and then people didn't really sort of looked at him funny in real life, I would have felt like, okay, not killed enough. And that's the way you really can tell a good actor. But I mean, let's not dwell too long on this Kanayo.
Yeah, exactly. So he says Jesus, so good for him.
People need to chill and leave Kanayo.
We will not chill. We will not chill. It's not possible. It's too late, like you said.
So, but moving on, we have Yul Edochie. His wife is officially filed for divorce, and is demanding 100 million naira for
I feel like
damages.
Over the past many months, beginning of this year, later, I can't remember when they hold his new wife or whatever came into the picture.
Yeah,
Yul's life has just become something that was on TV. He was clearly an actor who was like in his father's image, into like a reality TV star. His life has just become like something for blogs to just get content for. I don't know how. Anyway, I know how it happened. Another woman comes in, people are attracted to that story, and he himself, I don't know, for some reason, I feel like he played into
the hands of social media or the situation.
Yeah, into the situation, into the hands of. Okay, he tried to maximize what he could get from the boss that was not around him.
Yeah.
So now I hope he's happy. That's what I think, because I cannot think of this issue and not think that at least Yul is particularly implicated in what has happened to his own life in a public space. I think that yes, there are people who marry second wives and everything, but he did not have to feed the frenzy, I feel, the way he has. So if the the mentions or the engagements he gets is good for him, I'm happy.
Good for him, Abby. Yeah,
I'm happy for him.
Good for him too.
Exactly for him.
Exactly.
But I just wonder if this is what he wanted his life, because somebody who was thinking about contesting for presidency to be this person who blogs every 2 weeks there is one big story about your life.
Davido's incident with Anita was spreading around the internet, and he went to comment and said,
exactly.
That's it now, that if it was him, but
people would have never.
He should have. I think he's now sort of basking in the whole.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I just feel like I feel like people of course are attracted to all of these kind of things, celebrity, second wife, woman, sex, big news all the time, But I feel like he has also fed it, and I hope in his house he's happy, because I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that he has kids. I don't think this is kind of where he would have wanted his story to be, like,
So do you sense any form of desperation in the way he jumped at the attention or the trend?
The attention?
Yeah, because Yul is also coming from a place where a lot of his colleagues had crossed into new Nollywood, had started,
doing like
featuring
bigger,
on
better
Netflix
movies.
Flicks. We have the younger ones who are also come almost as if they are now sort of sidelining people like him and stuff. And then now this was an opportunity for him to even jump on the popular
I haven't thought about it.
Do you
but
think
you
that
probably have a point, There's probably a part of him that feels like
they're trying to,
for a long time I was being I was being ignored.
I mean, look at him. He appeared or featured on what's his name, Flavor's video for what's the song,
Game Changer.
He was very happy you could tell that he was in that video.
I was with his men now, and there's Igbo culture, so I guess that was good for him. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there's a sense in which yes, he jumped on this because he felt like for a while people were ignoring him, and he was just stranded in the Asaba Nollywood. Meanwhile, many younger people. I remember interviewing very recently actually one of the younger actors.
Yeah.
Who literally came from Asaba like 4 years ago.
Okay.
And now in Lagos, he's commanding like heavy fees that I'm sure that I don't know what his fees are in Asaba, but he might not be getting that as an actor. Maybe as a producer, maybe not as an actor. You get. So maybe the sense in which he looks at all of them like, what's happening to me and my whatever. And when this thing happened, he was like, okay, here is an opportunity to get even better known by these young people. So maybe this is a chance. So I'm hoping that, I hope he's happy. I just hope he's happy, because it feels to me like he also, he's part of the problem is him. He also put his hand into this thing. So I just hope he's a happy person wherever he is. But this money, 100 million, Sha.
For that woman is asking for?
Will they give it, do you think?
I mean, no, I don't think I don't know in the history of anybody asking for any amount that they have given that person that very amount. I mean, I can't remember when years ago when Charlie Boy sued Multi-Choice, and I don't know if it was 50 million that he requested for and got the said amount. But regardless, the system where we are, even abroad, I don't think you ask for any number that you just give you like that. There's always room for negotiation. So I think that if the woman will be lucky to get away with maybe 20 million or less. But the question again is, does you have 20 million to give his ex-wife? Well, I mean, his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Yeah, well, somebody made it clear that he was in the government for a while, and you know how Nigerian government is. Once you get into government, it just feels like there's a bag of money somewhere. But 20, I think he might be able to. I mean, I think he might be able to. He will still be angry, but I think he might be able to give 20 million. But 100 million, I doubt that.
I know, but yes, you can give 20 million, but I don't think he can give you 20 million cash. Not cash necessarily, but like write a check of 20 million, take and go. He will say, "I'll pay this in space of XYZ time."
20 years. I think he should be able to do it. Also, he's just trying to be mean. I wouldn't know. I don't know how much money just before.
Anyway, that's by the way. Fela died 26 years ago.
He died in 1997.
Yes, in 1997. So and this will be 26 years. August 2nd. August. Yes, yesterday. I mean, as at time of reporting or recording this, and I mean, looking at Fela, the things that he stood for, his music, his person, his legacy, what would you say, or how well would you say that Fela has done, with things that he had done even to date?
I think that Fela remains likely the most influential Nigerian musician we've ever had.
Ever?
Yes, I think ever.
Ever.
I think that's like a major thing, and I think that in terms of artistry, he's probably is in first rank too. He could play multiple instruments. He could write music. He could read music. And when we say write music, a guy will write the notes, the keys that they are going to play from all the instruments that are going to be on the song. So that's like not. I think someone else. I don't think anybody else can do it. No, now. Femi is doing this. Okay. Now. Like, Femi is doing it now. Femi can read music. Oh yes, he can. So, but all of that, yes, he can. Okay. He can. But all of that started with Fela. Yeah. Okay. So yes, that. So I'm saying of our popular musicians now, we don't know if all of them can they can even barely sing. You get so talk more about like writing music. So that means that artistry is still like at least top 3 or top 5 ever in this country. But in terms of like influence, is number 1. So the thing is, commercially though, I feel like of course a lot of our newer guys have beat his commercial record, because when I saw the video for Burna Boy performing this Apple Music thing he did in London, I was like, I don't think Fela ever played to that sheer amount of people who were in that place, in that venue. I really, really doubt it. So commercially, I think yes, people like the Wizkid or Burna Boy have probably eclipsed him, at least while he was alive. What then is like, okay, what happens to them if they are to die? What's to happen to their legacy? That's the part we don't know. And not a lot of people, and yeah, we don't have that answer until like when they even retire. But you know that Fela, when we talk about his legacy, it wasn't just about his music, it was also about what he stood for, the things that he had said, the way he spoke about things around the industry. So many times when things are happening even when we had the NSAS thing 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 years ago, people were calling out, were asking, why has this person not come here? Why has this person not said anything? What, and all of that. People were actually literally, for people who were making music as if they were addressing a lot of political situations or social-political subjects with their music. People were now started looking for them, like, you are supposed to be here. Why are you not talking? What have you not? This person tweeted and all those things. Yes, that's a Fela legacy. Yes, that's something that people knew Fela for. The reason why people are even asking that because Fela set that example. That's why people are like, okay, you're taking this part of the music. How come you've not taken the activism bit? And Fela was
heavy with activism.
Of course not.
In the military era, where nobody could,
yes,
where they
there's
would
no
slap
trouble,
and beat you up. I mean, the military.
No, of course, they beat him a
his
few
mother
times.
down the story building. You know, so a lot of these things happened to Fela, which is why it is difficult to want to try in any way to say you want to compare any artist. I don't know.
Exactly. So activism too. Like I said, the only thing I feel like they've eclipsed Fela in is the commercialism. Just how much money, while they are alive, they've made from their music.
Yes.
I think that that because of the industry has expanded a lot more, the internet has of course made so many opportunities possible. It also means that people have been able to like maximize the revenue from just being alive and singing music at this time. So Fela never had that because of course Fela didn't have Fela didn't have the internet in his time. So yeah, that's the only thing. But I think in terms of artistry and legacy, I don't think anybody comes close. Wizkid, by the way, had influence in the early part of his career. I don't see it as much anymore. But there was one period where maybe within the first 3-4 years of Wizkid showing up, where many people sounded like Wizkid. I don't see it anymore. But there was that time, you know, you just felt like, okay, these new cats, you sound like we saw that new cat there. I can see Wizkid there. You get, although Wizkid himself actually part of what he kind of combined the R&B / the local Fuji whatever was actually one day called Tinsha. Let's not forget that too, because actually one day could actually started. That actually made that thing like a big. So we'll see. 10-20 years from now, whether any of our big 3 musicians have people who are like looking at them and like taking parts of their style. Another thing too is like I don't know whether our guys currently have like an aesthetic of their own. If today Wizkid, let's use Wizkid. If somebody showed up here, that's one of us by the way, by any vehicle, somebody showed up, walked in front of us, and the person was setting outfits, would we think to ourselves this is a Wizkid outfit? Would you think this is a Burna Boy outfit? But somebody can walk in here, even how many years have passed Fela's
and you see like,
this guy dressed like Fela. So minus the music is the aesthetics. So when Wizkid had those girls in front of his his second album, he had the girls in front of with him.
It was in
front of the album cover. You get with their markings, with the chalk markings. It was like this is like a Fela aesthetic. You get when Burna Boy had anybody in the video, and with that's the neon lights glowing, whatever it was Fela.
Like
you get
Fela.
So what is the minus the music? Do these our guys currently? Do they have an aesthetic? I honestly don't think so.
No. No. Even now, to talking about aesthetics, even now the genre of Afro beats that we are all is still, you know, right behind Afro beats.
Exactly.
So you have to leave it to Fela that he's the greatest artist,
he's just the king
of all time. I mean, if not, we don't dare say Africa, you know, greatest African artist of all time.
It might be Africa, but certainly Nigeria, definitely Nigeria is number one.
So I mean, that's the show.
That's the show today.
Subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know on any topic that you have, you know, had something to say. Holla at us in the comment section, and we'll definitely respond back. My name is James once more.
Oris.
You catch us on our social media page as well. I'm James Hellas on social media. Please catch Oris on social media, and then we'll see you on the next one. Bless.